The wood creaks in my hands as I lift the pike. It isn't the sight that makes the men behind me go silent. It's the understanding. This is not punishment anymore. This is instruction. The fog clings to the ground like the breath of the dead. It wraps around our boots. It crawls into the cracks of the palisade. Even the horses keep their heads low, as if they know they're not meant to look too long. I raise the pike higher. My arms tremble, not from the weight alone, from the fact that my prince is watching. Vlad Tepes does not shout. He doesn't need to. He stands still, calm as a carved icon, and the fear does the speaking for him. I hear someone swallow behind me, loud, too loud for comfort. No one laughs, no one cheers, not even the rough men who usually find something to mock. Because everyone knows what this is for. It's for the enemy, and it's for us. If the enemy is coming, they will see the line before they see the city. And if any of us forget what obedience means, Vlad will remind us. I don't know what I'm supposed to feel. I am not a child. I have seen blood. I have marched until my feet split. I have watched men freeze in ditches and wake up stiff. But this is different. This is a message made of silence, and it begins long before the pike. My name doesn't matter. In Wallachia, names are swallowed by the forests. Men vanish into reeds and return as rumors. I am young but not soft. I am a recruit in Vlad's service, a foot soldier with a spear and a worn leather cap. I came for wages. I came because the borderlands do not offer many choices, and because every spring brings the same question. Who will rule us this year? Who will sell us? Who will save us? Our land is trapped between powers. Between old boyars who plot in warm rooms and foreign emperors who speak of us like we are a road. And then there are the Ottomans, vast, disciplined, patient, a machine of war and tribute. They do not need to hate you to crush you. They simply move forward, and the world makes room. That is what I am told. That is what I have always heard, until Vlad returns. Until Vlad takes the throne and speaks as if the world can be held in place by will alone. The older men call him many things when they think no one is listening. Savior, devil, the only one who will not kneel. At first, it isn't the battles that change everything, it's the mood, the air itself. You feel it in the villages, in the way doors close faster, in the way men stop speaking freely in taverns, in the way the boyars' messengers ride harder, as if chased, because Vlad does not rule like other princes. He rules like a man who has been betrayed too many times. He doesn't merely want obedience, he wants certainty, and he believes fear is the only language traitors understand. I hear stories that he learned this young, that he and his brother were sent as hostages to the Ottoman court when they were boys, living proof that their father would behave. I do not know what a child learns in a palace like that, but I have seen what Vlad has become, a man who understands power, a man who understands the cost of hesitation, a man who believes mercy invites knives. So he begins at home. He breaks the old habits first. He cuts down corruption like weeds. He drags thieves into the open. He crushes boyar plots before they can flower. He makes the roads safer in a way that feels almost unnatural. And the price is simple. You obey, or you become an example. The older soldiers say it's the only way, that our land is too small for softness, that the Ottomans do not respect compromise, that only strength buys time. I want to believe them, but sometimes at night I lie awake and think, if fear holds the house together, what happens when fear becomes the only foundation? Then the news comes, always the news. Ottoman forces mass. The Sultan himself moves like a storm. They say he wants Wallachia punished, made obedient, turned into a proper tributary. The words are always polite. Stability, order, protection. But what it means is tribute, sons taken as hostages, and our princes turning into administrators for someone else's empire. Vlad refuses, not with speeches, with preparations. He empties villages ahead of the marching route. He removes food. He burns what cannot be carried. He poisons wells. He turns the land into a starving maze. The old women wail when we tell them to move. One spits at my boots as I torch her grain. I don't look her in the eye. I just keep the torch low. Most are simply afraid. A burned field feeds no one, but it also feeds no invader. This is how we fight, not with glorious lines and banners, but with denial, with distance, with hunger. And then Vlad adds the other weapon, the one I am lifting right now. He makes death visible, not hidden in graves, visible, a warning that stands upright. When the enemy approaches, they will not find a clean battlefield. They will find a land that refuses to be swallowed, and they will find proof of what happens to spies, collaborators, deserters, anyone who opens a door for the Ottomans. The wood is rougher now, or maybe my hands are just sweating. I look at the pike in my hands and feel my stomach tighten, because I understand what Vlad is doing. He is shaping the minds of everyone who walks through these valleys. The enemy, the peasants, and us. I did not understand this until I saw it with my own eyes. An Ottoman scout finds a single poisoned well. He doesn't just stop drinking. He looks at the horizon like the trees themselves are trying to kill him. The strongest weapon is not the sword. It's the story people tell each other. If the Ottomans believe Vlad is untouchable, if they believe his land is cursed, if they believe his men will not break, then every mile they march becomes heavier. I came for wages, but I am learning a different kind of coin. Fear is a tax on the mind, and Vlad is the most ruthless collector I have ever known. He makes the Ottomans pay it. The Ottoman army does not arrive like a raid. It arrives like a season, a horizon of tents and smoke, a rolling thunder of discipline. They bring supplies, engineers, cannon, men who build bridges as if the river itself is their servant. You can smell them before you see them. Not one smell, many. Cook fires, sweating horses, oil, iron, rich spices and oiled steel. We smell of wet wool and the bitter ash of our own homes. It is an entire world moving forward. And yet, as they march into our land, something is wrong. There is too little to take. Too few villages intact. Too few animals. Too few people. Every step forward gives them less. And every day we strike from the edges. A patrol disappears. A supply wagon burns. A messenger never returns. We do not win battles. We win exhaustion. Vlad's war is not about glory. It's about making the invader feel like the land itself is hostile. I see a man beside me startle at the sound of a dry leaf. He nearly draws his blade on the wind. We are all living on the edge of a scream, because we all know the truth. If we are caught in open ground, we die. So Vlad keeps us moving, keeps us sharp, keeps us hungry enough to remember why we fight. And above all, he keeps us afraid of him, because there is a secret every soldier carries, though we never whisper it. It is easier to walk into a wall of Ottoman spears than it is to imagine Vlad's eyes if you turned your back. One evening, a runner comes in, gasping. The Sultan is near. The camp grows quiet. Men check their straps, sharpen blades, whisper prayers they pretend they do not believe in. I see a man who hasn't seen a church in years tracing a cross in the dirt with a trembling finger. He wipes it away before Vlad looks his way. Vlad rides through us without ceremony. He points, he assigns. He speaks in short phrases that feel like stone. Tonight, we strike. Not in a parade, not in a proper battle. We strike like wolves. We are told our target is not the army, it is the heart, the Sultan. Even I understand what that means. If we can cut the head, the body falters. If we can make the world believe that the Sultan can be reached, then the Ottoman machine becomes mortal. To us, the Sultan is a god. To Vlad, he is just a man with a throat that can bleed. It is a terrifying thought to realize a god can be hunted. I feel my mouth go dry, because it is one thing to fight soldiers, it is another to step into the center of an empire. Night falls. We move. The land is black. The trees are blacker. Smoke crawls low, hiding us and choking us at the same time. We paint our faces. We cover metal. A veteran raises a fist, then slices a finger across his own throat. No one nods. We just melt into the tree line. And for the first time, I see Vlad close enough to feel it. He is not a monster foaming at the mouth. He is worse. He is calm. My hands are shaking so hard I can barely grip my blade. I look at Vlad. He is adjusting a strap on his glove, as if he's preparing for a walk in the garden. His heart isn't racing. Mine is trying to escape my chest. He is focused. He looks like a man who has already accepted the cost. He does not promise we will live. He acts like the price has already been paid. We hit the Ottoman camp like a dream of fire. Shouts, horses screaming, men running half-dressed, steel flashing in torchlight. I cannot see the whole battle. No one can. That is the truth of war. You do not see history. You see a man's eyes, a blade's edge, a shadow moving wrong. I follow orders. I strike where the veterans point. I trip over ropes. I smell burning oil. I hear a man call for water in Turkish, his voice breaking before silence takes it. It turns out men reach for the same things at the end regardless of the god they call for. For a moment I believe we have done it. For a moment I believe the Sultan will fall and the world will change. And then we are pulled back, dragged back into the forest, bleeding, breathless, alive. The assassination fails. The Ottoman army survives, but something changes anyway, because they now know we will reach into their heart, and they now know Vlad will do what others will not. We retreat toward our capital, not as a defeated army, as bait, and then we prepare the final message. I am ordered to lift the pike again, to stand in line, to raise the warning. And when the Ottoman host approaches the road to Targoviste, they see it. Not one stake, not 10. A field of them. A forest. The enemy stops. Even their discipline hesitates. I watch from behind the palisade as their front ranks slow like men walking into a nightmare they didn't believe was real. I see their scouts double over before they even reach the tree line. It's not just the sight, it's the air. It tastes like copper and rot. It is not the gore that matters. It is the scale. It tells them Vlad has time. Vlad has control. Vlad has the will to do this again and again. It tells them, if you enter this land, you enter his mind, and his mind is not soft. At the center of it all, one man is raised higher than the rest. A general in silk, now a signal fire for the others. The Sultan does not turn away in disgust. He turns away in something closer to respect. Word passes through camp that he spoke of Vlad as a man you cannot defeat, a man who has made the darkness itself into an ally. There are wars you can win with numbers, and there are wars where numbers bleed into fear. That night, after the pikes, after the smoke, after the whispered prayers, a veteran approaches me. He is older, scarred, missing 2 fingers. He looks at me, not with pity, but with the cold eyes of a man checking a blade for cracks. He says quietly, "If you run, You won't get far. I nod. I know. Then he says something else. Some of the men are talking, saying Vlad has gone too far, saying we're becoming what we fear. He watches my face. This is my choice. Not a heroic charge, not a duel. A choice between loyalty and survival. Because in Vlad's army, talk becomes betrayal quickly. And betrayal becomes an example. I could report the veteran. I could stay silent. I could pretend I heard nothing. I look into the dark. I think of my mother's village. I think of Ottoman tribute. I think of boys taken as hostages, like Vlad once was. I think of the Sultan's camp, vast as a moving city. And I think of Vlad, calm, unblinking, determined to keep our land from being swallowed. Then I do the only thing a young soldier does when the world is too large. I say nothing. I walk away. I keep my mouth shut. I let fear choose for me. And in that moment, I feel myself change. Not into a villain, into a man who understands how regimes survive. Not by convincing everyone, by making silence safer than speech. The Ottomans withdraw, not defeated completely, but checked, delayed, denied. Men in camp begin to speak like we have won something eternal, but I am not fooled. The machine didn't break. It just paused to oil its gears. And when it returns, will there be anything left of us worth saving? I have seen how long it can march. We bought years of silence. But what will the children who grew up in this forest look like when they finally put down the spear? It does not end the threat, and the price of that time is heavy. We have burned our own fields. We have emptied our own villages. We have trained ourselves to live under fear, because Vlad believes fear is the only thing stronger than invasion. Sometimes, at night, I stare at the smoke and wonder, will we remember how to live without it? History does not reward men like Vlad with peace. He makes too many enemies. The Ottomans want him gone. Some boyars want him gone. Even neighboring powers watch him with suspicion because a prince who refuses to kneel makes everyone uncomfortable. In time, he is pushed aside. His brother, Radu, favored by the Ottomans, becomes a rival the empire can live with. Vlad is later captured and held for years in foreign hands, a useful piece on a board. And then, when the board shifts again, he returns, older, harder, still refusing to submit. He takes the throne once more, briefly, and then he dies in war near Bucharest, his end as contested and violent as his life. That is the truth behind the legend. Not a vampire, not a fairy tale. A frontier prince forged between empires, using fear as a weapon because he believed the alternative was extinction. And I remain what history always leaves behind. A soldier, a witness, a man who lifted the pike because the world demanded a message, and because some prices, once paid, can never be taken back.